Hey everybody, I'm Jen Garrett. My passion for football and pushing boundaries has helped me to create a successful business using the same performance building principles of the world's best players. Through my Move the Ball book, workshops, and consulting work, I've used the same system to help thousands of people to think and execute like a pro athlete when it comes to business and branding. Now, I'm on a mission to help you utilize those tools and strategies to elevate your hustle and get you across the goal line. So get ready. It's time to suit up, to show up, and to move the ball. Hey, everyone. It's great to be back with you for another episode of Move the Ball. If this is your first time listening, welcome. And if you've been a part of the Move the Ball movement for quite some time, welcome back. I'm glad that you are here with us today. As you all know, this podcast is all about business, branding, sports, and of course, how to move the ball. This episode is part of my special Path to the Draft series, where I'm having conversations with NFL draft prospects on their path to the draft. Now, if you haven't yet subscribed to the podcast, make sure that you do so that you never miss an episode. Got great guests as part of this series, as well as part of the regular show, so you don't want to miss who's coming up for the season. All right. For today's episode, I've got an incredible guest with us inside the huddle today, and ready to share his story and talk about his path to the draft is CJ Holmes. CJ is a defensive back who played college football at Jackson State University, who are the current SWAC conference champions. So congratulations. And during his college football career, CJ played in 44 games, recorded 130 tackles, 85 solo stops, and 45 assisted tackles. And he also had 23 pass breakups and 8 interceptions. Now, during this past season, the 2021 season, CJ had 40 tackles, 33 solos, and 7 assisted stops, as well as 1 interception and a forced fumble. CJ, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for having me.
It's good to see you. I'm really excited to chat with you today. I saw you a couple months ago when we were in Weston, Florida at House of Athlete. You're doing your pre-draft training, and I know we've been talking about doing this chat, so I'm glad that we're doing it today. Let's kick off our conversation by talking about, how did you get into football? When was the first time you picked up a ball, and what made you fall in love with the game?
I actually started playing football at a very young age, at 4 years old. My dad also played football as well, so he kind of kept me around football since I came out the womb. I actually have baby pictures with basketballs and footballs. I started playing around 4 years old, football and basketball. Just went into Pee Wee, played for Norman Wildcats. I played 6th grade flag football. Middle school, I was so we had a 6th grade team, and then we had a 7th and 8th grade team. So I played flag football and on the middle school team, and then started all 4 years on varsity, and then got to Jackson State, and then here I am today.
And what was it about the sport that made you really fall in love with it, or that excites you?
I just had fun playing it, It was just my piece. I could go to the football field and just have fun and do what I love to do, Just catching the ball, just having the ball in your hands for real. It's just exciting just to make a play, just be able to make a play, and then everybody cheer for you. That's just exciting.
Absolutely. And as someone who's followed the game since I was 4, I completely appreciate what you're saying. And, the Move the Ball movement really started off by me writing this book called Move the Ball, which is all about football lessons and strategies that I took from the game and showed people how they can use it to be successful beyond football. When you look back at your time playing football, what are some of the lessons that you've taken away from the game to be successful?
To really just stay disciplined and work, and everything is going to take care of itself, just to keep your head down, keep working, because the work doesn't never stop. Everybody's trying to get better, and everybody's doing their part to get better. So you got to outwork the next man. So, and I carry that on into other phases in life. So just to be disciplined in every area of my life, just be well-rounded. So just to work is really what I get out of football.
Absolutely. Yeah. The work doesn't stop. You always got to be grinding, always got to be pushing it and keeping at it for sure. So you play DB, which I mentioned, and some people say that's the hardest position to play in football. What makes you elite at this position?
I think what makes me elite is that I'm versatile. So I can play anywhere in the back end, whether it be nickel, safety, cornerback. I have a very good IQ of the game, thanks to my position coaches and my father. So just me knowing about the whole defense is what makes me elite. I have very good decision-making skills, very good leverage. So I think all those things ties into a good player that I am.
And now you were a walk-on at Jackson State. Talk to us about your experience from walking on to playing all 4 years, being a starter, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so me and Warren Newman, who was also from New Orleans, He actually we walked on together. So I went to Lusher Charter School. That school is a very small school in New Orleans, and we didn't have a lot of coaches or recruiters from colleges come look at us. So coming out of high school, I had one game where Jackson State actually came saw me play because they came saw Warren play the game before me. We actually had a game at the same stadium. So Coach Chadwick Germany, thank God for him, he came talked to me before the game and told me that they were interested in me, and that happened to be one of my best games. Unfortunately, I didn't get offered the scholarship, so he told me to just come walk on. And once I walked on, it was just like the grind just got so much serious for me because me not getting a full scholarship and my parents having to pay for college was something that really kind of hurt me, I want to say, but like it was for the better because it kind of made me grind it harder. Just going in with that chip on my shoulder and that mentality, it just kind of helped me and pushed me. I started off as the 8th cornerback on the depth chart and started my freshman year. So that says a lot in itself. And then I just kept working from that point, because once you get the starter, you got to work to some other point because really some starters get comfortable once they are the starter. But I never wanted to get complacent. So I just kept working because I wanted to be the best. And I still want to be the best ever to play the game. So that was something I kind of carried with myself.
Sure. And I like your story. I think it's important because sometimes in life, we don't get to start off where we want to be, right? But that doesn't mean we give up. That doesn't mean we stop pushing or trying. It just means that we have to work harder. We have to do things differently, but you still look at how can you move that ball and get to where you want to go.
Exactly.
So when you look at your time at Jackson State, share with us, what was your most memorable experience there?
I definitely got to say winning the SWAC Championship, just the guys rallying together and just us coming together as a family and a team and just making that happen for the city of Jackson, for the culture of Jackson State. That moment right there, I won't forget it because the time and the effort that we put in, it was so many hours we put in just to make that happen. And that team is just, I won't forget that team for real.
Sure. Yeah, that definitely a great moment. So congratulations on winning the championship. And the Tigers also had their first 11-1 win series season history in the history of the school's football program. So congratulations on that as well. So let's take a minute and talk about Coach Prime. I mean, a lot of people are familiar with Deion Sanders and what he did playing in the NFL. Not everybody is familiar with what he has done as Coach Prime and for the Jackson State football program. Share with us, what was your experience like before Coach Prime got there, and then what it's been like since Prime was coach?
So before Coach Prime got there, it was still a pretty good environment to me. All the guys wanted to work. We still had some great players. Coach Hendricks and Coach Hughes, shout out to them because they really were good coaches in my eyes. They really were humble men. Coach Hendricks, I felt more of a connection to because he was kind of like a father figure outside of football, and he definitely, like, we related in a lot of things. So he stayed on me. Him and Coach Stokes, who was my old position coach, those guys really pushed me to become a better player. Just the environment, the culture that they created and started. Unfortunately, we didn't win a lot of games, but it was still like, that determination and that push was there. So we were still working. Coach Meg, too, the strength coach. But then when Coach Prime got there, it was just like, you got to be appreciative of everything that he brought to the table, Not only him, his staff, everybody around him. Coach Prime is like he's very big on attention to detail. So as soon as you step foot in the building, it's like you got to be on your P's and Q's. Even when you outside the building, it's like you're representing a new culture in Jackson. So, you know what I mean? Like everybody's eyes on you. So it's just like the way you carry yourself is important. So Coach Prime really taught us professionalism. And that carries over into a lot of things. And so us just being professionals on the field and off the field, in the classroom, it was just so many things that we learned from Coach Prime. And it's just a blessing that I even got the chance to play on them because everybody, I know a lot of people will wish to trade places with us, you know what I mean? And so just having that chance to play on the Coach Prime was truly a blessing. I learned so much. I'm still learning from him to this day. So
yeah, I mean, he's done a fantastic job so far with the program. Excited for what he continues to do at JSU. So let's talk about you training down at House of Athlete. What are some of the things that you're working on?
Well, down here at House of Athlete, I'm working on my speed for sure with Mo Wells, who was an expert at speed. But yeah, I'm working on my speed, my strength. We're doing position drills. My diet has changed. So I got my body fat is dropped, and it's just like a whole bunch of things in one that we're working on here. It's not even just on the field, it's off the field as well. Mental, interview, prep. it's so many things that's going into this process right here, and I'm just embracing every moment because you only get this chance once in a lifetime. So I'm just embracing every moment because I have the chance to change my family's trajectory at this point, and so I'm taking it one day at a time and walking by faith.
Well, I know you're working hard down there, and I'm glad you mentioned walking by faith. That is one of my favorite quotes, to always walk by faith and not by sight. So glad you brought that up. So one of the things that you've been able to do as well, getting ready for the draft, is participate in the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, right? January 29th, 2022, you're out there at the Rose Bowl. But it's not just the game. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things going on that week. You've got practices, you've got interviews, all kinds of things. Talk to us about that experience.
That was a blessing in itself as well, to be able to be up there with all those talented guys, coaches from everywhere. I got the Hall of Famer Jackie Slater, that went through Jackson State himself, and just that experience in itself was just a blessing. I felt like I got more insight on the NFL. With the NFLPA U classes, we actually got to talk to some former and current players, get their insight on how to create longevity in the league and how to, just go in from day one and just dominate from day one. So just getting that insight from those guys was a blessing. Going to practices and being around the other talented players out there, really pushing me. I just brought a lot of energy out there as well, and they kind of picked up on that. A lot of players like that. I want to shout out Coach Freeman and Coach Walls. Those were my two position coaches out there, and two great guys, you know what I mean? And then so for the interviews, that was kind of a process as well. I like that process. I got to talk to a lot of teams. Just a great experience, it was everything in one. They had a barber shop, they had game rooms, food was great, they had snacks. It was just a great setup for real. And a lot of people say that the NFLPA is one of the best bowls to go to. It was just a blessing to be able to go up there and showcase my talents.
For sure. I'm glad you had a great experience. And so share with people listening, why should a team pick CJ over somebody else in the draft?
A team should pick me because I'm going to bring a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm to the team, and I'm going to be ready to work, and wherever the team needs me to play, I'll be willing to play. And so I'm a team player first. I want to win a Super Bowl. So that's been a dream of mine. So team picking me, you got a Super Bowl winner, you know what I mean? So I think a team should pick me because of those reasons.
Well, there you go. And so football will eventually come to an end for every single player, right? For some, it's sooner than others. Hopefully for you, it'll be a long time. But have you thought about what your plans are going to be once you're done with your football career?
Yes, ma'am. So I want to one day own my own production company. I graduated with a mass communications degree and with a concentration in multimedia journalism. And so I'm into like videography and recording people. I make a lot of people's highlight tapes as well. And so I like to produce a lot of things. So I want to one day own my own production company, clothing line. I got a lot of ideas. I want to get into real estate. My mom's been a real estate agent for over 20 years. So I got a lot of areas I want to touch into because I want to have multiple streams of income.
Well, that is important. I'm glad you're thinking about that. And as an entrepreneur myself, I'm always thinking about multiple streams of income. So I'm glad you're thinking that way.
Yes, ma'am.
And something else that you are very much into that I want to share with our listeners is that you are into music as well and had an album that came out last year. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, I've been into music for a while, probably around middle school. I started with one of my friends. We just was playing around with it, and I just kept going with it. Because I just like poems. I like writing. I like just making. I just like playing around with beats. I make beats for people, and so just like music in itself is just something how I relax outside of football. That's something that probably won't stop as well. So you can expect more music from me for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I look forward to it. So, CJ, what I want to do now is take you through my 2-minute drill and ask you some fun questions. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. First question is, when you were 10 years old, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be an NFL player. I wanted to be the best NFL player at that.
Well, there you go. Well, you're on your way. Next question is, what 3 words would you use to describe yourself?
I would describe myself as humble, energetic, and disciplined.
Great 3 words. What is one thing most people don't know about you?
One thing most people wouldn't know about me is that, like we just said, like I'm a rapper, beat producer. A lot of people don't know that. You know what I mean? They probably wouldn't guess that, but I'm very good with words.
Next question is, if you had one intro song played at all of your public appearances, what would that one song be?
That would probably be Still Running by Lil Baby, Meek Mill, and Lil Durk.
Okay. How about what book are you currently reading or what podcast are you currently listening to?
I listen to I Am Athlete podcast a lot.
That's a great podcast.
Yeah, I watch that podcast a lot, so I'm into that. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I started reading that a little bit.
Yes, it's a good book. It's been around for a while, but it's a very good book. All right, my next question is, you are hosting a dinner party and you can invite 3 famous people, living or deceased. Who would you choose and why?
Ooh, living or deceased?
Yes.
Let's go LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and Jay-Z.
And why?
Because they're some of the best at what they do. You know, LeBron is definitely, the top of, and I said no football players, but this is the reason, because the business side of it and what they do on the court. And so all 3 of those are like the visualization of where I see myself having the multiple streams of income. And like we said, like with Jay-Z, he's into rap, but he also has the clothing line. He also has other things that he's doing outside of that, you know what I mean? And LeBron as well, with the commercials and the shoe lines, and then the movies, and then Kobe Bryant is just forever legendary to me. So just to pick their brains and then see like what's the best ways to go about what I'm doing, you know what I mean? And then like investing in my body, investing in different things and how they got to the point that they got to, because they're obviously some of the best to ever do what they've ever done.
For sure. And my next question is, do you sing in the shower?
Definitely.
Are you good?
Well, definitely. I think everybody could sing in the shower, though. I don't know if you've seen the Shaq commercial.
I have. Yes, everybody sings better in the shower.
Yeah, that was a pretty good commercial.
So a couple other questions for you. What's the best piece of advice that you've been given by a coach?
I'm going to forever say this. What Coach Prime always tells us is to keep the main thing the main thing. And that's something that I forever stick by, because that's important in life, you know. Once you get distracted by outside things and you lose track of the focus on the main goal. So just keep the main thing the main thing.
That's great advice. I'm going to flip it now and ask you, what's the best piece of advice that you would give someone?
I would tell anybody just to bet on yourself, you know, just double down on yourself and believe in yourself, because other people's opinions, you can't make them reality. So you got to bet on yourself. And like I said, walk by faith and not by sight, and just believe.
Absolutely. When I saw you at House of Athlete, you were one of the days, the shirt you were wearing was a Bet on Yourself shirt.
For sure. Shout out to my dude, Kyron. You know, he has a clothing line, Fake Incorporated, and Bet on Yourself is the motto of the whole clothing line. And so I definitely support that.
Love it. All right. So as we look to close the show, where can people follow you, CJ?
You can follow me on Instagram at CJ Holmes 3. Very simple. And then on Twitter, you can follow me at CJ3.
Perfect. And we'll have those links in the show notes so people can follow you on your journey. Thank you so much for being on this show today.
For sure. Thank you for having me. It's a blessing.
And it was great to have you on. Really looking forward to this next chapter for you. So appreciate you. And thanks again to everyone for listening. If you liked today's episode, please share it with somebody else who you think would find the show to be of value. And I say this all the time, but if you've been thinking about how you can be a better networker, join me in my 5-day virtual networking training camp. There's a link in the show notes and it is free. So would love to have you check that out. All right. We will talk to you all next time. Until then, make sure that you suit up, you show up, and you move the ball.
Thank you for listening to Move the Ball. To see more about what I'm up to and how I can help you to move the ball in your business, with your brand, or your career, check out my website at www.getinsidethehuddle.com. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast so that you never miss an episode, and also join the Move the Ball Facebook group for even more content and to be a part of the Move the Ball movement.